cheating. It's not a prediction when you put this in here, David.
I didn't put that in there. I think you put that in there.
Well, but is it getting released with the blooper show?
You have to ask Boyan. I don't know.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. But we have. So the prediction that Donna put in here was the Help Me with HIPAA podcast will release a rap theme song.
You're listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, where HIPAA and humor collide to make learning fun. Your delightful hosts are Donna Grindle and David Sims. Relax. HIPAA help is on the way.
Welcome to episode 439 of the Help Me with HIPAA podcast. My name is David Sims of HIPAA for MSPs, and joining me is Donna Grindle of Carden. What's up, Donna?
Tell you, I'm excited to be rolling into the end of this year. Put a fork in it. It's done.
That it is. So we have our blooper show coming up, or maybe it just passed. Not sure.
Well, yeah, it comes out this week that we're recording it. This comes out now. You know, we're always 2 weeks ahead, David. I know this will come out on the last weekend, the last Friday in December, which is the last Friday in 2023.
Oh, good. We take the rest of the year off after today.
Yeah, that's right. We don't record again until next year.
That sounds better than it is, but I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. So we started a tradition. I don't even know when we started this, and maybe you do, but we started a tradition where you and I will give our predictions for the upcoming year, and then about the same time the next year, we'll go through and say, were we right? Or how close were we? Were we way off? And then let's throw in our predictions for the next year and let's see where we are. So guess what? We're going to do it again right now.
Right. That's what we're talking about.
We're going to talk about the 23 predictions and how we did with those. And then we'll give you what our 24 predictions are. And just to be fun, we also asked ChatGPT what the predictions were, because I don't know that you or I, either one, could have predicted the crazy madness around AI this year.
No, well, we looked and we had done our prediction show, and we included it in our discussions that AI was going to be a thing, but we had no idea. We hadn't really had an opportunity to get our hands on it and see what you could truly do. You know, so many times those cool new technologies kind of slowly get out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this thing just exploded.
Yep.
So it's been really cool about the things that we've been able to do with it, but it's terrifying what things we've been able to do with it. Yeah.
And 24 will be, we'll be sitting at the end of that year going, oh my gosh. Because it's just, it's crazy how rapidly that it's increasing and what it can do and how it can help. And it still blows my mind that there are people I talk to that are business owners even. And they're like, yeah, I hadn't used it. I'm like, what? You've not used it? That's like saying you've not used the internet.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that was a huge, I remember the first time I was trying to get the boss to do a website. And he said, well, why do we need a website? I was like, we're a software company.
I still have people tell me that. Why do I need a website? I can just post things on my Facebook page.
Anyway, that's it is remarkable. I think that people are using it and they don't even know they're using it. I think is a really more the point than I think they have no idea that AI is talking to them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in a lot of ways, but the quickest way it's going to be interesting is mostly around content, because, often people say everything's great until marketers get a hold of it and then they ruin it. But like with ChatGPT, that's the first thing that it was able to do was things around marketing, like writing articles and blog posts and social media posts. So all that online digital marketing stuff is what it could do best.
Yeah.
So we're starting out with, this is where it can go sideways. So it'll be interesting, but you think about, blogging, for example, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people jump on the bandwagon of blogging and been doing it for years. And all that content is mostly from the heads of these folks that run the websites, except for some that copy people's stuff. But besides that, now you're going to have people go, I don't have time to do blogging. I'll just let AI do it. So we're going to run into an entire segment on the internet where there is no more human generated content at all. It's just going to go away.
Yeah. Well, the vast majority of, if you look at all the activity of the bots on social media, we already have the bots just generating a ton of conversation and content already. And that's before they had an AI behind them. Yeah.
So I guess maybe the next certification will be like human created certification.
Yeah.
You have to have your site certified that it's actually a person behind the scenes, behind the curtain.
Wizard of Oz.
I don't know, man. There's so much, there's more questions than there are answers, but that's kind of the way we roll. All right. So for the last time of the year, we do want to thank you folks for following us, for sharing us out, for leaving reviews, for donating to the podcast if you're a donor. We appreciate all you guys. Subscribe.
Everything.
Whole 9 yards.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And one final announcement before we dive into it, and that is we have set the dates for the HIPAA Price Tech Boot Camp for 2024.
Yeah.
If you want a prediction that is absolute, there you go. April 9th through the 12th. I predict I will be in Atlanta.
Oh, there we go, folks. He just set the karma in motion to cause that to get screwed up now. So, want to review how we did for our annual guesstimates of what we thought would happen?
Yeah.
For 2023. See how we did?
Mm-hmm. How did we do? We always fare pretty well. So let's see what we did this year.
I know. All right. So, number one, cyber coverage costs will be driving adoption of formal cybersecurity programs more than regulations, because regulators can't easily do what the insurance companies can.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah, because there are people who cannot get insured because of their lack, or it's all one off. But a case I was talking with one of the brokers about, the price tripled because they weren't using MFA. So it's crazy how much difference that is, and it's forcing them to look. If you're not, remember John told us, we got all excited. Oh, this costs us to get discounts, and he goes, "No, it's just going to make me charge you not as much in a price increase."
Yeah. There's, almost every time somebody comes to me and they're interested in security right off the bat, more times than not, the conversation is prompted by, oh, by the way, I have an audit for my insurance, or I have to fill out this assessment, or something like that. I'm like, okay, I don't care the reason. I'm just glad you're doing it.
Yep. There's something driving it, an external source, not an internal one. Internal means that there's been a leadership change, or somebody at some level who has now joined the organization and has the pull to actually make things start moving. That would be the other thing that starts up the programs. Which then takes us to number two, David. Tight budgets will continue to squeeze out as much as possible from IT and cybersecurity, but there's not a lot left to squeeze.
No, there's not. And maybe some of this AI stuff will drive the price down on certain things. And then, that hopefully can be passed on. But the thing about technology is, even though the cost of the technology itself goes down, the cost to manage it and to secure it and to monitor it and all that, that doesn't change very much.
Mm-mm. Well, and we've talked before about the whole idea of, well, I'm gonna spend this much and then I'll do a little bitty increase next year. You can't do that because if you're spending $100 for something, the bad guys are spending 110 and breaking that $100. It's just, or maybe even they're spending 10 and breaking the $100 investment in so many cases. So this idea that, I think a lot of these impacts, well, it's like you said, something's happened and that's why we increase security.
Yep.
And it's something that we've been told for years until somebody makes them do it or they get hit, which essentially then somebody's making them do it. It's just the bad guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, the bad thing about it is, from my standpoint as a managed service provider, is I'm constantly looking at how can I reduce costs and improve operational efficiency and all those types of things. But then the threat landscape will shift, and I'm like, okay, now I've got to buy this other tool that does something and I didn't have to have that before. And that tool costs money. So now I've got to increase the cost to cover that. I'm not making any more money. I'm just having to throw more and more and more technology and security at problems just because it's the nature of what it is.
Well, I think everybody's in that position. The cybersecurity is not an income revenue producing item for most people. And it's, even though it is something you sell, it is something that you are maintaining that is expensive.
Yeah, that it is.
So, yeah, I don't think people realize how expensive it is. Maybe we need to come up with a way that you can give them a list. So, if you were to just hire one of my people, this is what it would cost you, so that they're sitting there readily available whenever you call.
Yeah.
Well, and then this is the cost for all of these things, and they all have minimums. That's the part that gets you.
Well, just an example, the reason why, or the example of why it costs so much is just because of that's how I function in my business, being that I'm able to bring in and give you these fractional workers, these fractional engineers and technician and security software and all that, because by doing it that way, that's the only way you can afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the software we have, the only way we can even get access to that software is because we're buying 500 licenses and you only have 10 computers. There's no way you can even buy it any other way.
Right.
It's the same way. So everything we do is based on that philosophy that we are covering the big costs, and then we're just dividing it out across all of our clients so that we all get the benefit of these things.
Well, and thank you for doing that, David.
You're very welcome.
All right. Number 3, recognize security practices education will begin to create discussions with leadership concerning implementation. That has absolutely happened. We still need to do more education because most people blink when you're talking about recognized security practices. I still get excited if somebody says, yeah, I know what you're talking about. 405D? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like the discussion in the ambassador's call the other day about a case study on how 405D HIPAA was implemented in a small rural hospital, and it goes back to the recognized security practices, education. So we'll just keep doing that, David. I think that's going to become even bigger when we talk about. Well, I mean, we discussed in our last episode about the HHS strategy published, and with everything they have listed in there, that is just going to keep going. So that's happened. It's now just part of the annual work. It's just going to become more frequently discussed. 4, healthcare cybersecurity will get attention in Congress since it is one of the very rare things that both sides can work together to accomplish something. Absolutely. We've just been reading about it.
Mhm.
It's in there's a Senate group being formed, a bipartisan group focused solely on cybersecurity and healthcare. And they have created that group and started having meetings and discussing things. Where was I? I've gotten lost. I overshot.
Number 5.
Okay, you do the last ones.
All right. So number 5, cybersecurity will change at an even faster pace on both sides. Threats will increase and evolve at a faster rate. Cybersecurity defenders, like their tools and info and all that, will also see a major rapid change. Hang on for the ride.
And boy,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned, stuff keeps changing on your side, but people don't even know it.
It seems like there's a new vendor popping up every day, which scares me because, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Because that's part of my predictions for the next year has to do with that.
There's new ones or acquisitions that are constantly happening in the MSP, particularly that market on both sides of it, the vendors as well as the MSPs. All right.
Yep.
So, that's true. Leading on.
Right. Number 6, Web 3.0 and AI will be the buzzwords of the year, working in tandem.
So, Web 3.0 got lost.
Yeah, and AI just took over.
Yeah. So, it's gone. Now it's just going to be AI. But, I mean, all of the, web tools are now like, here, you just tell it what you want, and it'll make a page for you.
Mm-hmm.
And here you go. Now you go forth and prosper. All right.
Number 7, human-operated ransomware. Pause.
HOR, folks. HOR.
Will become a bigger threat as advanced attacks continue to emerge. Human-operated ransomware is becoming an inevitable threat as these ransomware gangs use increasingly sophisticated techniques. Security teams must adapt their protection strategies accordingly. Yeah. And it's getting worse.
Yeah. Boy, has it just, they're in there lurking and they continue to live off the land. So they're not introducing new applications. They are using the ones that are built in so you don't notice them.
Yep. Living off the land.
Yeah.
So this one was yours 2 years running.
Yeah.
Supply chain will still be big news. Watch out, MSPs.
Yeah. And guess what?
It is.
It is. And the majority of the large data breaches that have happened are involving a vendor at some level.
Mm-hmm.
Not it's the vendor had the breach, or the vendor of the vendor had a breach, or something like that that's caused these problems. And we've seen it with a lot of different scenarios. So boy, and it's not going away, and it's going to continue. And there's constantly discussions, and that's a growth market right there. The number of vendors coming out with third-party management and assessments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. All right. So number 9, attacks against critical infrastructure will be a problem and not just cyber.
Well, in a lot of ways, we've been lucky with that.
Yeah. Some of these things you hope you're wrong on.
Well, and the other thing specifically on that, it could have happened, but we won't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been prevented. A lot of things happen in the background that doesn't make it to the forefront for the rest of us.
Yep, that is true. Number 10, Donna and David will refresh and relaunch HIPAA for MSPs and Card and Club.
Cutting it close, but we did it.
Yeah, we did. So if you want to see what that looks like, you can join us at HIPAAforMSPs.com or cardandclub.com.
Yeah, boy. We got cool stuff, folks. Cool stuff. Along with the new certified in HIPAA for MSPs.
Yep, the CHMSP certification. It is accredited by the American Institute of Healthcare Compliance. So not our compliance certification that we put together and put our seal on it. It is the first and only to be backed by a healthcare accreditation organization.
Yeah, indeed. There you go. It's for real.
That's right.
They proctor the exams. They do everything. All we did was make some training for it.
Yeah. I had somebody email me today about the mock exam, and I'm like, I can't answer your question. It ain't me. I can't do anything with it. I don't have anything to do with the exam part of it.
Nada. We could try to help. That's about it. I can't be sure.
Yep. So it's very cool. Very cool. Number 11, user authentication methods will change and hopefully improve. Google has just released a new authentication token system that, once more widely adopted, will be a move in the right direction. We already did an episode on the new options earlier this year when we covered FIDO. So there are more authentication methods, but the adoption of them it's just still slow.
Everybody's waiting to see what AI will do.
Yeah. I mean, the whole passwordless thing is going around, which is interesting. Even LastPass is talking about a passwordless methodology, but it just depends on what catches on. And then lastly, cyber risk management will proliferate.
Well, we've seen that pop up everywhere. So we're going
to
win on that one.
Yeah. It's so prevalent now, at least in our world, that's really the conversations I have with new clients and prospects. I don't even talk about IT anymore. I don't talk about compliance. Don't even really talk much about cybersecurity. It's almost entirely, let's talk about cyber risk management.
Mm-hmm. And the bigger picture of business risk management, realizing that, that privacy and security is a business risk. And that's something we've been saying now for years. Everybody's finally catching up. Oh, hallelujah. All right. So overall, we did pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. I'll give us a 95 out of 100. Web 3.0 messed us up.
A couple of things, 90%. Hey, if we're, you got the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
We're at least that.
Yeah. All right, let's dive in. So this first one here is you. So you have, when do we hit singularity?
Yeah, I mean, I was reading an interesting article about it, and first of all, the definition of singularity is it's a hypothetical. We got it from Google Dictionary. Let me be clear: a hypothetical moment in time when artificial intelligence and other technologies have become so advanced that humanity undergoes a dramatic and irreversible change. And then the quote they used was, maybe the singularity just happened and we didn't notice. And it may very well be that, we're going to look back and draw a line somewhere right in the time frame we're in where, it really, I think we're there. It's where that line gets drawn. It's kind of like, where they do the generations. It's like, are you a baby boomer or whatever, X, Y, Z, millennials, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is we're in that transition right now. So do we think it will be in 2024? I think it's going to be close at the rate that AI will teach itself.
Mm-hmm.
It already argues with you, and that's when it's fun.
Like I need another person.
Good news is it's not a person, David.
What?
I think it's something, though, that we are on the precipice of a whole new world built on what technology and AI will be able to do. Mm-hmm. It will rapidly increase the ability to make decisions, collect data. It sees data that you wouldn't even notice because of the way it's able to do it. And it can do so many other things research-wise and evaluate and come up with ideas. It's just out of this world where we're going to go. And, to be able to take a construction site and they go, here's what our problem is, and we need to connect this thing with this thing. How do we do it? It designs something, goes through testing iterations, spits out a plan that comes out of a 3D printer, and you go and you put it together.
Yeah.
Later that day.
What scares me about a lot of it, though, is that it's the dumbing down of humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, just take the calculator.
Yeah.
How many people like, oh, I don't have to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. I can just pull out a calculator.
Yeah.
and yeah, you're right. It's when you look at people that didn't have that ability a long time ago, they could add and do all that. I mean, just going to, my mom fusses about this. You go to a grocery store and the cash registers are down. Get somebody to count the change back to you. It's impossible. It's like they cannot tell you what your change should be.
Yeah. And how to little shortcuts of doing things in your head,
Yeah.
They can't even write it down and work it out. So anyway, and it's not going to get better.
I know.
I mean, there's going to be so many great, cool things that we're going to get excited about, but having to secure all that this thing will open up, you have to ask it about security when you're asking it about all the other things it's doing. So now the next one is not, you're cheating. It's not a prediction when you put this in here, David.
I didn't put that in there. I think you put that in there.
Well, but is it getting released with the blooper show?
You have to ask Boyan. I don't know.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. But we have. So the prediction that Donna put in here was the Help Me with HIPAA podcast will release a rap theme song. So, because AI is so cool, we were able to create a song solely using AI. I did go in and change some of the wording around and then told it to spit out a song and gave it some criteria to use, and it was pretty doggone good.
Yeah, I was having fun. I had it in the car with the speakers, where I was cool, and it boom, boom, boom. If anybody heard what the song was, it wasn't cool, but it was fun to do it just because I was doing it to help me with HIPAA rap.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll have to get that released here shortly, and you'll be able to hear it. So
yeah,
probably we'll have heard it, but before this comes out. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'll just have to put it on the website where you can go play it because it's fun.
It'll go viral. All right, number 3. I think this one's yours as well. HIPAA changes for security will fuel the push for using HICCUP, CPGs, and other frameworks.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe one. And it requires that transition to understanding governance. And, technically that's pretty much what I do is work with the people in charge of governance. I just am able to talk to all the other people with different levels of things. But, governance is you are governing the program. Mm-hmm. So you have rules and you have all of these things. And with everything with the CPGs and HICCUP and all of those things, and then of course, no proof means you didn't do it at all. You can say you're doing it, but if you can't prove you're doing it today, next year, when somebody asks you to prove you were doing it today, it's not going to be very helpful. But in that process, it's things like MFA is going to be a bare minimum. We've already talked about that. That's one of the things for an example. But The problem is, how long have we been telling people to do MFA on anything important, anywhere you can turn it on, turn it on? We've been saying this now for years, and it's becoming less effective because the bad guys are finding ways around it with AI. So whatever the next level is, it's going to have to be adopted much faster than MFA. So
yeah, it's just going to have to be FA because we ain't got time for M.
Yeah, it's just going to need to be A. We need to authenticate in some way, and all of that with zero trust and all those things. It's going to become a lot more of the Face ID and the fingerprints and voice prints, but it's going to be so hard with the ability for AI to generate so many things. So, but the bottom line is, if you are behind, you need to get started yesterday.
Yeah, 'tis true.
And just a point for everybody that complains when these regulations change, had we done the minimums voluntarily, we wouldn't be seeing this to now. We wouldn't be seeing the data breaches. We wouldn't be seeing all of these things. So since 2007, many, many people have ignored the things that were required. And because of that, we are where we are, and now we have to have rules.
You get what you got.
That's right. That's you lost your privileges.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Number 4. So I threw this one out there.
Exploit to it too.
Yeah, I saw that. So this is interesting because I believe that exploits will be the new ransomware. So I think what we're going to start seeing, and we've seen some of this already, but we're going to see a bigger shift toward the bad guys when they attack the organization, and they're going to, they'll get the PHI and your data and all that. But what they're going to sell really, and what they're going to hold for ransom really, is how they actually got in. So your vulnerabilities and the privileges and what your cyber hygiene looks like. And so in other words, if I'm able to get in your organization, if you don't pay me, I'll put all that out there on the dark web so everybody can get into your organization. And now, instead of just worrying about me, you got hundreds of me's that are going to be tearing you up.
You're just dealing with the tip of the spear right now. The rest of the spear is behind me if I show them where to go.
So, yeah, it's going to be bad.
And then you have the discussion of reporting you to the regulators for not reporting a breach.
Yep, seen that.
I was doing a presentation. I was joking about the time I was introduced at a presentation about you're going to have a lot of fun with Donna, but by the end you're going to want to vomit because of what she's going to tell you. And I was doing this presentation close to the end, and I started talking about that having happened, and what if you have a data breach and it gets reported to the regulators, and then everybody's kind of like, oh, that's bad. And I said, now consider they have the PHI and they report it to your patients, and a guy threw down his pen, slid back, and goes, there's the vomit. There's the vomit right.
Yeah.
So, and the bottom line is people are paying, and as long as you pay, it's going to keep getting worse. And now they can use AI, and so it's a constant battle. But imagine this, that you don't even talk to a person. The bad guys just use AI while they're on the beach.
Yeah. And if you want to know how bad having multiple breaches are back to back to back, call Henry Schein.
Yeah. It just keeps, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Number 5. So, this was a little bit safe, but I wanted to dig deeper into some of this. So we couldn't go without mentioning AI, but I want to be a little bit more specific.
We haven't mentioned it at all.
I know we could, but I want to talk about there's going to be ups and downs to this thing. And this is one of the ones that I almost mentioned earlier. I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I think AI is giving us the ability to write software so much faster nowadays that it's going to create an entire genre of crapware is what I'm calling it. It's just crap software that gets put out, and it's just, unfortunately, it's going to be things that you're going to think is going to be great. And unfortunately, some of it's going to be security related. You can be like, oh, look at this awesome VPN and look at this awesome cybersecurity thing. And you're going to be putting crapware in your systems, and it's going to cause a huge mess. Not to mention that you're probably giving whoever access to your systems by putting this crap on there. Yep. And they'll come with their own vulnerabilities. So now you've opened up more problems. It's just going to be a mess.
Well, and I noticed it was a prediction in the Gartner Predicts 2023 report. By 2025, the consumerization of AI-enabled fraud will fundamentally change enterprise attack surface, driving more outsourcing of enterprise trust and focus on security, education, and awareness. Yes. Yes. And, that part is now starting to happen. The AI-enabled fraud. Today, we're seeing so much of that. And you could tell when you read it, that was written by AI. But a lot of the things that we used to use for triggers, like poor grammar, it fixes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the other ones I put on here was that, as AI evolves, there's still that fight going on for top dog spot. And I hear it all the time. I'm sure you do too. It's 1 minute is ChatGPT, next minute is Bard, next minute it's fill in the blank. They all got their hands in it, and then somebody else is creating an AI that actually is, ChatGPT in the background, and it's crazy right now. And it reminds me of the fight between USB and FireWire.
Oh, geez, that was a long time ago. Well, AI wasn't even involved in that fight.
But it'll settle down some, I think. But I also think it's going to, as Donna likes to say, proliferate, and it's just going to be all over the place. And it's just
and we already talked about deep fakes before, and AI's ability to create the deep fakes. I was reading an article and somebody was like, just don't give them ammunition. Don't let them have publicly available access to your likeness or your voice. And I'm like, we got 8.5 years of voice and we're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, that's all social media is pictures of stuff, your videos, your audio. I mean, people spent 20 years now giving away all their information.
Yeah.
The AI is going to suck it all up.
Well, and that's the thing about it's a term, leaky large language models. So for those of you who don't know, a large language model is what the AIs operate on. That's their book of knowledge, if you will. Imagine a leaky one where it's pulling that out. So and when we're going to need it to fight on our behalf, but we're going to also have to be able to trust it.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those things where I can hear people going, but it's got to be free because I can't afford to spend any money on cybersecurity.
We got to do just a little at a time. We can't do all the cybersecurity. Well, you've lost your opportunity. A little at a time. If you had started in 2012 when we begged you to start.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of like the zombie movies, when they're banging at the door and they're knocking on trying to knock the windows out, and somebody's saying, well, we can only focus on the door. We can't do anything with the rest of it. Okay. Well, you're screwed either way.
There you go.
All right. Number 6, increase in hacktivism, because, it is an election year.
God, it's insane already, and it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
And the things that you can do. And I saw an article today, the Pakistani prime minister is in jail, the one that everybody likes, because whoever's taken over doesn't like him, but they put that guy in jail. But then they basically were able to use AI to create the voice and broadcast a speech written by the PM in prison, and they're broadcasted in the voice. So, wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's just that today. So we know it's going to get insane in the next 12 months on that negative side. We have to mitigate the negatives and enhance the positives, though.
And then the last one, number 7, you put in here, quote unquote, people problems will continue to fuel threats.
Yeah, there's always too few protecting and too many clicking.
We should come up with a different kind of mouse that doesn't click.
Then they tap. Wow, tapping. And that same report that I was reading about Gartner's, they said by 2025, lack of talent or human failure will be responsible for over half of significant cyber incidents. I think that's already come to pass, but it will, I would say, if you were to take all the ones from the supply chain, you would find a significant number that were due to lack of talent or human failure already. So I don't know. We will say by the end of 2024, it's definite. It seems that way right now. It will almost certainly be the reason behind it. And they did a study just to see when incentivized to meet delivery goals, technology innovation, or a fast-paced release cycle, business technologists are likely to take more risks. So we have to incentivize security first in everything we do, which requires a security culture, which we all know that starts from the top down.
Yep. All right. And just to add a little bow to it, we asked ChatGPT what its thoughts were. And just to be fun, Donna and I asked the same question from, her ChatGPT login. And then I asked it for my ChatGPT login because we wanted to see if we got the same answers. And
no,
not until we got really specific about what we were asking, which was funny because I told Donna, it's like you walk up to ChatGPT and you ask it a question and its response is, well, who wants to know?
Yeah.
Depending on who's asking, it would depend on what I tell you.
I think we got it when we got down to small businesses in the healthcare sector, data privacy and security predictions 2024, then it was able to narrow things down. And it was pretty close between the two of us as far as what they told us. So you want to run through those because I got to close up shop here.
Yep. I'll let you expand on them if you want. Otherwise, we'll run through them. Number 1, increased reliance on cloud services will be a thing.
Well, I mean, it's still the most secure thing. It doesn't mean they're already secure. You have to secure them.
Yeah.
It's still more secure than managing their own server, though.
Number 2, and I think this plays into everything we've been talking about here close to the end, which is enhanced training and awareness programs, because human failure.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is like some people don't have a training and awareness program yet. How are you going to enhance something that's not there? But we're going to have to come out with something better because the humans are still the biggest problem in a lot of cases. Number 3, collaboration for cybersecurity resources. So that's part of what MSPs do, right? We're giving you cybersecurity resources and collaborating with others to get it to you. So you can share your threat intelligence and pool resources together and all that stuff. Number 4, adoption of telehealth specific security measures. Yep. And then the last one that ChatGPT said would happen would be greater scrutiny on vendor risk management. Wow. There you go.
Yeah. So it does make it clear, and we posted verbatim what it told me because it was very similar to David's. So you can go read. I love when I tell people, they're like, Well, how do you write an article on ChatGPT? Well, you interview it. You ask it.
Yep. So there you go. There's our recap of last year and our predictions for 2024. Anything you want to say to top off the year, Donna?
I say, here's to a better, more productive, and successful 2024.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when you think about all this AI stuff, just say to yourself, I ain't scared.
Ain't scared.
I ain't scared.
Yeah.
That's what it's definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else. It's new. It's exciting for some people, scary for others. Either way, you need to embrace it to some degree, if nothing else, just to understand what it is and what it can do for you, not focus on necessarily what it can do against you, because it's going to be able to do both. It just depends on which side of the coin you want to be on. But that is our show, not just for today, but for the year. All right. We're out. So remember to follow us, share us, do all that good stuff. We'll see you next year. And remember, HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. Protect your patients day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.